Hello. Yes, my hat's very bright. Can I get a one in the chat for bright hats? But this hat is Bitcoin orange because we're going to spark this rally, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be good. We're going to be good. For those who are freaking out over this, what this opportunity represents is an opportunity to buy the dip. It's a good entry. For those of you who are looking at that BTC being like 120K, you're like, I can't believe it's so high. Well, now you've got an entry to go buy. Whether it's BTC, ETH, XRP, Sol, even Cardano, or Hype at 37, Stellar at 39. These are all good entries, especially if you have high conviction on a project. This is what you should be considering looking at. So today on Beat the Banks, again, this is Professor Chris, DeFi professor, co-founder Beacon DeFi. We do DeFi education. This is one of our free trainings that we do every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, here live on our YouTube, our Twitter, Twitch. Hello to everybody on retake.tv, out on Farcaster. Not doing Instagram anymore because that's a real pain in the butt. And I need to have, I need to have windows for TikTok, so that's not happening. But in any case, welcome. So if you want to look into DeFi or decentralized finance, one thing that we talk about in our group a lot is yield farming. Right now, the market looks kind of crazy. So in the event that we have crazy things going on in the market, one thing we always talk about, and one thing that many people that are whales in my network do, is they farm stablecoins. Why? Because that's guaranteed yield, guys. A lot of people are sitting around holding, waiting for the market. Not the way to go. Now, should you be farming all your assets? No. You should have some long hold assets that are going to be yours, but have portions of your portfolio that are always working. And stablecoins are a great way to do that. There's a couple different ways to do it. Frankly, a lot of the whales in my group that hit it big with all these amazing 100,000 X's that are sitting on tons of cash. They farm stablecoins because they are paranoid about losing money, and I get it. We're going to talk about some strategies, especially if you are like new to the industry, or you just new to crypto investing in general, and you want to figure out, I just heard about this Genius Act thing. Everyone's talking about stable coins. PayPal now accepts pay with crypto and all of these US coins that are out there. How can I make those work for me? Well, first thing I'll do is introduce our free group that's Total Value Locked from the mothership at Beacon DeFi. School.com/Beacon is the website. Absolutely free to join, guys. Please join the many, many, many people who have come our way to learn more about how to get into blockchain investing, into decentralized finance. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can take our Beacon Challenge, something we've been doing. Covering my face. Excellent. Earn your first dollar in DeFi within 48 hours. BeaconDeFi.io/challenge. BeaconDeFi.io/challenge. You can actually also find that, of course, at our free site here at Total Value Locked from Beacon DeFi. Take that away. But yeah, when you're here, you can check out our Start Here post, get a message from myself and my co-founder, Andrew. We've been in the space a long time. Been in DeFi since 2019. We've seen everything. Ultimately, you can learn about our system. We have tons of free content, but if you want the best curated, up-to-date content, of course, that's through our offerings. Feel free to check that out. Anyway, back to stablecoin farming. Where are the best places to farm? Really depends on your strategy, right? So there's two different two specific strategies that I like to look at when it comes to farming stablecoins. The easiest one, which I think is probably the most progressive, I suppose. We'll start with that first, then we'll go to the old reliables. I'm a big fan of Euler Finance. Euler.finance. Euler.finance. It is what is called a lending AMM, automated money market. What's great about that is you have the ability to lend and borrow your capital. And for most people, when they first come into this space, they're like, there's so much going on. What can I find that's relatable? A lending AMM is great because it is literally like going into your savings account to a bank, because they have lending rates, borrowing rates. And what that means is that you get the opportunity to actually post your capital, your liquidity, onto this market, and people will be able to borrow against it. Or you can even borrow against your own collateral, get a loan. And that's the most fantastic part about it, because in this arena, you get paid not only to supply your capital, but you can also get paid to borrow the collateral, depending, right? That's not always the case. It's still a loan that you have to pay back. But you could be in a situation with incentives where you're actually being paid to borrow. Not too many of those currently, but it's happened in the past quite a bit from a lot of different places, especially with new AMMs and new blockchains coming around. So you actually are being paid to borrow, and it's a fantastic feeling to do so. What I love about decentralized finance going into loans is that you don't have to go into a bank. You don't have to sit on the phone. You don't have to talk to a loan officer. There's no credit check. You just, if you have collateral, if you have capital put in, you can take out a loan against it, and there's no expiration date. You just have to pay it back. There's interest, of course, but that's all part of what's going on. And what a lot of whales will do is they'll park capital, borrow stable coins, farm them between 7 and 20%, pay back the loan, while they're still earning. Let's say for Bitcoin, or let's say for ETH, for example, we're here on, well, this is TAC. Shout out to the TAC team building the layer 2 Cosmos EVM bridge over to Telegram for TON, the open network. 6.32% supply for ETH is juicy. CBBTC at 17% though. Hold up on the presses on that one. What I like to do is I like to click on the down arrow to show me the best supply APY. And this is an auto compounding position, by the way, whenever you get into something like this. Now, first thing that people ask is, what the hell is TAC and how do I get there? Well, you can certainly Google TAC, check them out. I would recommend you try Twitter first, look for that logo, find the correct website, and then find out from there. The bridging is the part that's going to have to update. But if you know how to get there, you can get there from mainnet through Stargate. You can also use Interport Finance. That's another way to get there. But anyway, we'll get off attack, but I just want to check that right out real quick. 17%. 17% on USDT. That's lovely. That's a stable coin pool. And again, you just deposit your stables in there and you earn 17%. It's an auto compounding position too. What bank does that? None. That's why this is why this show is called Beat the Banks, because we're beating the banks every single day. And I think it's daily compounding. I think it's the best part too. Daily compounding, rewards are streamed every block, which in most cases, in most blockchains, is sub 1 second. So instantly, practically, you're getting your rewards. Okay, where should we start? Let's start on Base. Base is a layer 2 blockchain from Coinbase. A lot of people are on Base. A lot of people are bridging to Base. Euler is mostly, outside of TAC, is mostly on Ethereum compatible chains, and TAC is compatible. But TAC is technically based in Cosmos EVM, to be quite honest. All right, so we're on Base blockchain, and currently we have the Frontier Yo USD market. And again, what happens with these is you deposit the asset that they've created the vault around. And for those who are curious, you're going to see this terminology everywhere, like vault, farm, pool. They're all pretty much the same thing. They're all a smart contract where you put your funds in and you receive an incentivized yield for doing so. So if anybody's curious. You're like, what's the difference between a farm and a vault and a pool? Nothing. They're all the same. They're all nomenclature for getting into a smart contract that holds your funds, and then from there provides a pool that other services uh, can use to rehypothecate and put into other pools. For example, the Yo USD market specifically for the Yo USD ecosystem. So they only have one piece of exposure here, but you can go a little bit different. Like if you go to Apostro for Resolve, Resolve is a delta neutral stable coin with USR. This is using USDC, and they're going to use that to give you give exposure. And you can, of course, we can view all this, right? And you can see exactly what are the different exposure collateral pools that are being used with your funds, which is nice. Right? But this is why I like Euler. Euler's been around a long time. They were on ETH mainnet forever, but they've started to branch out to different layer twos, which gives more people a lot more access to it. When people ask, is it better to farm on a layer 2 than a layer 1? I always say it's better to farm on a layer 2. A because it's cheaper to get started, and B, the rates are just as good. Honestly, you don't have to go to layer 1 Ethereum and pay exorbitant gas fees when you can get very similar rates, even if it's like 2% less. It's still going to be better on a layer 2 from a cost perspective. If you're first starting out, that's definitely the move to go. Now, in the event that you have size, right, that's where layer 1 Ethereum comes into question. Like if you're farming with at least, I don't know, let's call it 250 grand. You should put that on, you should probably put that on Ethereum. Why? The pools are way deeper so that your deposit won't really upset the vault amounts here, right? For example, this Apostro USDC vault total supply $50,000. You popping 6 figs in here is going to change the composition of this pool dramatically, which is fine. You can certainly do that, but people with lower capital are going to be the ones in there. And I'm not saying that as a blanket statement, just saying overall, if you have, and we can go to ETH minute by just swapping the chain here. You can just check to see. I mean, there's just much. I guess the supply here isn't as crazy. Let's see. I don't know what MMEV is, but this one only has 5K in it, so it's completely. And these are privately cultivated vaults, right, by third parties. Okay, so after scope, this LRT, wrapped ETH is what you put in, or just ETH. That's 2.24 million. You're going to have larger size vaults here. This is a SUSD for Falcon, for the Falcon ecosystem that has 17 million in it. So like I said, you're gonna find much larger pools where if you have size, it's not going to upset too much of the dynamics of the pool. Let me take away this banner. Okay, so that's why I like Euler. And what I'm doing here, I'm not going to be borrowing, just so you guys know. And when I recommend Euler, I'm recommending it for the supply. Why? It's an auto compounding position that you can use to, let's say that you don't have the time to do a lot of LP farming, or because of the market conditions, you don't want to LP farm because you care about impermanent loss and stuff like that. Consider going into a lending AMM. Now, outside of Euler, there's a couple other great places you can go. One of them is going to be at Morpho. That's also on Base, and a couple other blockchains. And then, of course, the granddaddy is going to be at Aave, right? I say that like people who are watching my content know what Aave is. So Aave.com. There, if you were to take the deposits in Aave and compare it, to the top commercial banks in the United States, they're like in the top 50 just by deposits, and they're not technically a brick and mortar bank. But with the movement in pro crypto legislation here in the United States, we're going to see a move towards more of these quote unquote neobanks and DO banks, which is a decentralized neobank, coming to light. Are they going to have the same amount of depositor asset volume like you'd see it like An HSBC, a Citi, or a JP Morgan, or a Bank of America? No, of course not. They're not one of those top 7 too big to fail banks. But some of these smaller banks representing more blockchain tech-backed, decentralized mechanisms are going to start becoming part of the norm, to be quite honest. Aave's been around a gazillion years. By the way, my first position when I first came in to DeFi was to go to Aave, because really there was a whole lot that wasn't, super degenerate and super gambly, but at the same time, this was familiar to me. I was like, oh, I can deposit my assets here and then take a loan out and then just go to another spot to go farm that and make up that loan and with profits. Yeah, absolutely. That makes a ton of sense. Like, I can deposit ETH here, earn 2% plus an additional 1.75 in some sort of incentive, and then borrow USDC at 7% with a 2% incentive, so that effectively, if you interpret it that way, makes it a 5% loan, right? That you're paying back. This is not permanent. This will go away. But even with the Euro stable, EURC, 6.39 to borrow with 3.73, you can go and farm EURC at a pool, like on Beefy, for example, earning a lot. Let's look. Roughly between 23 and however, but we can go as high as, if we do this one at Aerodrome, ETH, that's 65%. That's well outpacing. And I can show you the rate at Aerodrome. It's going to blow your mind because it's in the thousands, but there's a specific mechanic there for it. But yeah, this is something you can absolutely do. You can actually take out a loan, borrow another asset, farm it, and then over time with profits, pay back that loan, keep those profits, and then use them for other things. You can sideline them for more powder into more opportunities. You can find some of these really hot runners, with your allocation, to use 2 to 5% to go buy whatever you like that you think might go to the moon. But you gotta be tactical about it. You have to have a good system. That's one thing that we talk about at Beacon, is having a system, having an allocation that makes sense, so that you should be treating this like a business, because you're going to be taxed that way. So Euler's a great spot for that. Same with Morpho. Morpho just has a variety of different vaults that are available. This is on Base. So you can see they have a USDC one that's at 13%, where your collateral is being used across multiple spots. As you can see here, the market exposure. One thing, a little fun fact, if you're on Coinbase.com and you have a Bitcoin loan, that actually is running through Morpho on the backside. So Morpho is a huge point of infrastructure now in DeFi. So coming here, like at Aave, even at Euler, they are good, safe places to go, because they've been around. They passed what we call the Lindy test, and they're being used extensively by closer to Web 2 type businesses. And as more institutions come in, there will be more demand for liquidity like this. So yes, you can be your own bank in Web3 and DeFi, and you'll be paid much better than you will ever be paid by being in a savings account at some random bank who's making all their money off of you. You get the chance to be that person. Okay, so let's we're looking at Euler. Love Euler. This is on Base. If we check out Arbitrum 1, that's another block. That's normally the blockchain that we start off with our content. 14.83% for USDT 0. This is a fantastic rate. It is higher because the utilization rate, meaning for all of the money that's in there, there's 3.14 USDT 0 in here, and that's the name of the stablecoin, USDT 0. It's omni-chain, meaning it's cross-chain, can be used on multiple chains as a native stablecoin. 9362 means that with regards to how much supply is there, almost 93% of that, or more than 93% of that, has been borrowed. So as you get, and there's actually a part of the curve with regards to what the rates are, because it is algorithmic. No one is just rubber stamping rates. Like, that is 5%, that's 2%. No, there's an actual demand curve that determines what the rate is. And when it's high like this, as you can see, you can kind of see that. Let me make that a little bit larger. Oh, as you can see, it's almost full there. The reason for that is as you get past what we call the kink, clear your minds, the kink in terms of where the demand goes up. Once you get past that, you actually get paid more as a supplier because there is less to be borrowed. One thing I will say is if this is at 100%, you cannot withdraw your money very easily. Why? Because 100% of the money in the vault is being borrowed. So keep that in mind if you're supplying. Yes, it's not a compounding position where you're going to earn a good amount on your money. But if you want to withdraw it, you got to make sure that this is not at 100%. Let's say 95 to 100%, because you won't be able to possibly remove all your money in one shot. That's just kind of the nature of the business. Now, this is at 77%, and that's at 9.43%. Still a fantastic rate, right? This is a stablecoin SUSDC. And yeah, it's just a fantastic rate to consider. Now, even for, I think, were we on base for Aave? Let's move to Arbitrum. And when they say markets, these are different layer 2 blockchains. So Base has their own market. Arbitrum will also have their own market with different assets that are available to supply as well as to borrow. But you need to provide assets first as collateral to then borrow against. So keep that in mind when you're there. Looks like it's 2% for wrapped ETH, or rather for ETH as well as wrapped ETH, which is just a different version of ETH that's widely used in smart contracts. If we go to Euler, and we're at Arbitrum for ETH, for wrapped ETH, we're looking at 5.71 plus. Looks like there's additional rewards. So really it would be closer at under 2%, but because of these Euler rewards, which you'll earn in your wallet, you're actually getting extra rewards here, which is good. You have the ability to earn extra goods when you're here. So that's why we're huge fans of Euler. Again, we're not borrowing, we're just supplying, because for me, if I'm not going to spend my USDT 0, right, and I don't want to farm it, I can just drop it in here. This won't be here forever, but as long as I'm earning like 7 to 20%, that's a huge win in my book, because I'm not going to get that anywhere else in terms of like stocks. I'm not going to get that in terms of savings account, money markets. No, this blows all of that out of the water. This is at Binance Smart Chain. As you can see, the utilization is really high here, almost 100%. But because of that, the supply rate for this is 56%. This is from Aegis. YUSD is a stable coin that's backed with Bitcoin collateral. So you actually deposit Bitcoin into Aegis to get YUSD. That's the collateral backing for it. Not sure if you get Aegis points. Aegis currently has a campaign to earn points for a possible airdrop later on. Something you may want to consider if you're looking for a place to go. But 56% for YUSD is a great rate. 97%. So obviously, as this utilization rate goes down, let's say we go back down to 60, this rate will also drop. But here's another one, Tulipa, another third-party USDC vault. USDC, of course, being one of the second largest stablecoin by market cap. USDT or USDT 0 is the top. 92.74. So again, this will have, when we get back down to like 85%, it might be 9% even. But when you have high utilization vaults, if you're okay with just leaving your money there for a little bit, great way to earn money. USD1, if you're interested in supporting the President's initiatives with World Liberty Financial, this is their stablecoin. You can get that at 15.8 and it's above 92%, but it's been a solid performer overall. So yeah, Euler is great. So if you're looking for a great place, it's a lending AMM with great rates. You can't go wrong with Euler. You can't go wrong with Morpho. Another place that I love to go to is at Pendle. And Pendle, which is at pendle.finance. What I like about Pendle, pardon me. And thanks to Greg for that. If you really want to see where the kink is, because every protocol has a different kink rate, it's generally around 80-85%. But you can actually see the graph if you just view the details for the market. You can actually see that. Okay, so Pendle, one of those really interesting protocols. It's been around a long time. I think almost 4 years now, maybe 5. They started out as a credit default swap protocol. They have since really just transformed what they do into providing a very simple mechanism, the ability to speculate on yield for an asset over time. What's great about Pendle, because they're single asset pools, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss there. You don't have to worry about slippage with regards to redeeming back to the asset that you're going to. So this is DUSD, GUSD, which is from Gains. This is from Dolomite, the protocol. You go and you deposit USDC into the Dolomite AMM. You receive DUSD back in your wallet. You can then take that and deposit it in here for 7.85%. And this is kind of like a coupon bond, if you're familiar with that. The YT, where you can speculate on the yield over a specific amount of time, this is 138 days, meaning if I hold this for 138 days, I'm guaranteed to make 7.85% of my money. Very similar to a CD, but this is more like a cash bond, right? A coupon bond. Why did I say coupon bond? Cash bond. Coupon bond. So there's a maturity date. Now, this rate will go up and down. In fact, this rate probably goes up the closer you get to the 138 days. This yield will actually get worse as you get closer, right? Because now you kind of know what the yield's going to be in a specific amount of time. So it actually should get worse, much like some of these do, although that's strange. Okay, so SUSDS, it's almost 100%. We're 26 days away. 6.56, you still want to take the fixed on there. So this is another great way if you're looking to do that specifically. So if I just to kind of do a little detour, if I come back and go to, because to get there, I'll need DUSD, which is from Dolomite. So if I go to Dolomite, which is dolomite.io, shout out to the guys at Dolomite. And congrats on their recent launch onto Botanics, which is a layer 2 BTC Fi chain. So just double checking, I am here on Arbitrum. Botanics is there. Arbitrum is where I need to be. For USDC, supply APR is 14 point, with an Odolo rewards APR. So again, we're not talking about going into all kinds of crazy APRs. We're talking about taking decent amount of size into stablecoin farms, this is guaranteed money that's going to keep coming because you don't have to worry about directional exposure. That's the great part about stablecoin farming. So if I just come with like $100 and deposit it here for 14.33, I can then come back and then come here to Pendle, deposit that asset, and get 7.85% on my money. We're going to do that actually today. So let's do that. So 14.33%. I'm going to deposit. I need to make sure that I do, and I have money here on Arbitrum. Yeah. So I can come into my Rabby wallet. Click here in my token ledger. I do have $98 available. So we'll go ahead and do that. Whenever I do these free trainings, I always do a very small amount. It's not because I don't want to use size. It's because I want people who are watching the stream to know you can set up these positions with a very small amount of money. So even if you don't have a ton of capital, you can get it set up, come back, keep padding it. You can absolutely do that. In fact, I recommend you do that because what I want you to do while you're in here is I want you to check out the numbers, see if the quote unquote math is mathing. And then if it looks good to you, absolutely keep putting in more money. I mean, I can tell you if I put something like this to like my old WF account, meaning it rhymes with Mel's Margot, I put like 5K in and I earn like a penny, right? A month. Whereas something like this, I would earn much more than that. So that's the one beautiful thing about, doing this. Greg with another Pendle tip. The longer you hold after the maturity, the starts to keep the yield generous. So yeah, don't hold after the maturity day. That's the other part too. These things don't roll over, so you're going to have to keep that in mind. But it gives you something to look towards, something to do with regards to your farming routine. So you'll have to watch that. And inside your monitoring, it'll actually tell you. So let's go ahead and let's do $25. And first thing I have to oh, how high is utilization? Well, it doesn't matter. We'll confirm the unlock. Rabby wallet comes up. We definitely don't want to have, this means that we're approving infinite amounts. So let's say I had $1,000 in here, they'd be able to spend all $1,000. This is a trustless, permissionless system in DeFi. So you get to control how much the protocol can touch. That's going to be a no from me. I'm going to click on that so I can edit that, and I want to do $25 because that's how much I'm going to do for this transaction. Now, this is for a token approval. This actually will change soon because with EIP 7702, it's going to be there. This is an approval and then a confirmation step. They're going to have it so it's all in one step very soon. Just don't have that here. So with regards to gas, we're going to use our gas account, which means we set this up independently and we can pay for all of our transactions using stablecoins. Primo option. This is why we recommend Rabby. Normal gas. We'll double check and just make sure our smart contract that we're going to is not young. It's at least 10 days old, right? This is 162 days, meaning it's been out there for a while. The thing about smart contracts is that once they've been deployed, they cannot be modified. That means the word that we used is immutable, and that's what you want. You want an immutable smart contract. That means no one can cook the books. What's out there is out there. The only way to change a smart contract is to deploy a new one and have everything go through that. So just kind of keep that in mind. So go ahead. We have our gas account chosen. Sign, confirm. And really, I wasn't gonna do this, but I figured, why not show the power of composability? And that's one thing that's great about DeFi is that a lot of these assets are composable. That DUSDC asset is a composable asset because I have it in my wallet from staking as a marker token for Dolomite. I can now take it somewhere else and earn additional yield on top of it, which is amazing, right? So now I confirm my deposit. Two-step process, account approval and confirm. This is mostly an Ethereum thing. Ethereum like any Ethereum chain will have this until 7702 is everywhere. Same thing. We can double check. That's the contract we've already interacted before. Again, that's fine. And now this is the finalization of that. We'll make sure that we choose our gas account. We're going to be paying 10 cents in gas, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. It's not bad. I say that like 3 years ago, we weren't paying $3 for transactions, or like $50 for transactions on ETH mainnet. Yeah, we've come a long way. All right, so we've got our $25. That's available. This will now be in our, so we can view on RBScan just to verify. We always like to verify our transactions. And we should now have DUSDC in our wallet. What I can do is I can come back to my wallet just by going with this one. The from is me. And then what I can do is under token transfers, I now have, well, let's go here. Tokens, token holdings, USDC. I should have a DUSDC token. I don't see it. Oh, view all holdings. We here? Well, maybe not today. But in general, you could see if you had that DUSDC. All right, so I have $25 out in, nope, that's older. Well, in any case, I do have that asset available. I'll show you in a second. If I come back to Pendle, again, I need to deposit in Dolomite. That's why that's the DUSD. That's the Dolomite logo right there. If I go into here, so now I'm getting 14% on my money there for $25, right? I can now come over here with that DUSDC, earn an additional 7.85 as long as I hold it for 138 days. You are welcome to withdraw your money at any time. This is not a binding contract. You don't have to hold it for 138 days. If you do, you will get whatever the amount is. It should rise the closer you get to the end. But you can always withdraw early if you just want to take profit or you just don't want to be in anymore. It'll just be at whatever the market price is for that day. All right, as you can see, I have 20.67 DUSDC. That's what came back. That's what came back from that. Try to find the best way to verify that I have that, but All right, well, this is the 25. That's that of DUSDC. That's what we have there. So we'll go ahead and grab that. So you can see 20.67 equals $25. The output will be this specific token. This is what's called the PT, or the principal token of DUSDC. This is a PT. If we were to do the YT version, which is speculating on the yield of what that will be in 138 days, I can buy the YT side. So that's the kind of the cool part, is that you can actually just buy the principal token and how much it'll appreciate over a specific amount of time, or you can speculate on the yield itself that could generate in that time. So that's where you get an interesting amount of speculation, and that's what really drives Pendle Swap, which is the AMM that's underneath this that people really don't see, but advanced users trade against all the time. There's a lot of money swapping back and forth to keep these going. So that they've built an incredible infrastructure here that's going to be used. The newest version of Pendle, which will be a bolt-on on top of this, is called Boros. So you'll be able to speculate not only on just the yield of a token over time, but the funding rates, off-chain, I believe, funding rates. So that'll give it even another wrinkle to earn additional yield, which is a really interesting and complex, mechanic, which is great. And that's the wonderful thing about DeFi. You have all these what we call picks and shovels to try and earn additional yield. So again, once we do this, as you can see, we can redeem this on Dolomite for the 3% gain at maturity. That probably will raise. We'll see. The effective fixed APY will be roughly about 7 3/4. And this is the minimum we're going to receive. So we need to switch to Arbitrum to do that first. We just click the button, and our Rabby wallet will take care of that. We just have to approve the DUSDC. Again, two-step process. Rabby wallet's going to pop up. As you can see, it's the exact amount that we're looking for. There's no crazy amount in terms of like an unlimited amount, which is good. That's what we want. We want to just double check this because we've never interacted with that before, but we do know the smart contract is whitelisted to Pendle. That's why it's listed here. And this is the one thing that I love about Rabby that other wallets don't have. They put all this in here to make it very human readable, easy to see. 459 days. So this smart contract's been deployed for more than a year. We'll be using our gas account for paying a penny in gas, normal speed, sign, confirm. And that's submitted. We'll have another transaction here in a second that will come up with the confirmation part. All right, so we have to click the button to have that happen. So it's first the approval, then the swap. Because what we're doing is we're swapping our DUSDC token for the PT. And we'll be able to redeem that on the backside once that's done. Then again, bring it back up. We did just interact with that contract, so we're good. We're seeing the full transaction simulation for what we should be getting, and then we just have to make sure that we choose the gas count 15 cents today. And in less than, let's call it 10 minutes, we now have a position that's doing multiple things. And that's the coolest part, right? We have one position, first of all, earning 14% on our money with additional rewards. So it's really 9% plus additional ODOLO rewards, which is their DOLO is their native token. And then on top of that, we'll be earning roughly about 7, almost 8%. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of this. Now, could I go even further with this PT? Yeah, because there are places that actually take this as collateral. So you can actually stake and put that somewhere. Is it a Dolomite? Is there a PT? Let's see. Is there a search button? So if I just do PT, no. But if there was, we could actually deposit it back in here and do more with it. I don't know if there's another PT in particular. Well, there's spots like Equilibria and PenPy, where you could possibly deposit that, but that's outside the scope of today. I don't want to go a little too crazy, but just giving you the idea of composability in addition to just doing regular stablecoin farming. We're not doing LPs. We're just literally doing deposit, and then now I'm earning, if you want to combine that, roughly about 20%, which is a fantastic rate to return on your money. So, oh, is it Morpho? Yeah, if there's a PT, I mean, like I said, it's yeah, no. I'm trying to think if there. I'm trying to think where it would be if there was one. Equilibria. We're on Arbitrum. Is there one for DUSD? There is. Oh, but you'd have to set it up here. Oh, does it take it here? Yes, it sure does. So we can we can turn an additional 9.5. All right. Anyway, you can go down an entire down an entire rabbit hole with this. What this does, and again, it's so cool that we can do that, right? You're actually layering smart contract risk while you do that. Okay. So let me explain what that means. Is that not only do you have smart contract risk, you have counterparty risk. So let's say that I end up doing this. I have to worry about making sure that Equilibria doesn't get compromised, Equilibria doesn't go out of business. And then, of course, I have to double check and make sure that Pendle doesn't go out of business. Then that they're fine to go. There's no exploits there. Plus Dolomite. Now we have 3 layers, right? So these are all things to kind of think about. Yes, there is a tremendous amount of yield that can be created, especially off of just stable coins. For me to get an excess of 20%, over, you just call it 6 months, right? Let's just say I want to farm it for the end of the year, so I have enough. We have people in our group who literally just farm stable coins to pay taxes, because you're going to be taxed on this, and they make more than enough to cover all the taxes and still have some profit. So think about that. Think about having this as another way to earn passive income, another income stream, another revenue generator, through doing very, frankly, simple things. If you want to do more than that, if you want to go and find out, what's the highest, crazy APRs that are available. I mean, they're out there, right? This is a little silly right now, 287 million with DRB, but earning 4% per day. Yes, it's out there. Is it sustainable? No, probably not. Is anything over 1,000,000% APR and 4% daily sustainable? No. Ask yourself that question, right? That's the one thing you kind of have to think about, right? The higher the APR, the higher out you are with regards to risk. Now, just some things in general are just going to be high risk anyway, but this is the beauty. You have your choices. If you'd rather just stick with Pendle, with Euler, even with Dolomite, just to keep things very straightforward, very much in front of you, you have that option, and you're going to be outperforming banks at a very high amount, and that's the really awesome part about it. So, what I did also want to say is, how would you monitor this? Right? There's a couple different ways. You have your token ledger here inside of Rabby. I just click on that button, come down, and then you can check to see the different spots. Why is because it's only going to show the one because it's taken my DUSDC and it's popped it into the smart contract. That's why. If we go to DBank and you take your address and you just put it in here, that's another way to do that. And then we just, like, I already had it open from our last call, but just refreshing it, you can see my amount still hasn't changed. Awesome. So now I have a $25 position here, and as you can see, it's 138 days. The maturity date is December 18th, so I can literally just come back around December 18th, check to see what the PT rate is for this around then. Maybe it's 12%. Who knows? And then I'll be supremely happy because I can withdraw my money and earn 12% of what I had less than 6 months ago, right? Technically it's 4 months. You're not going to get that type of performance out of, most other bank instruments that are out there. And that's really the reason why we love calling the show Beat the Banks, because we're showing you all kinds of, well, yeah, they also have really high fees, but we're showing you ways that you have access to this, right? And the best part about DeFi, no country owns this, and that's kind of a sticking point for a lot of people, is that this is non-sovereign, this is anti-fragile, this is censorship resistant, this is your capital working for you in many ways possible. So hopefully you found this demonstration useful, and a nice little demonstration of really interesting ways that, from a stablecoin perspective, to get obviously people want to get the highest rates possible, but if we're being realistic, if you want to get easy yield that you can just check every week, which is what I love to do because I work a ton of hours. If you own multiple businesses, you work a 9 to 5, you have a family, you don't want to spend 8 hours a day looking at research, trying to figure out what's the best rates. These are tried and true positions that are easy for you to put together and have great yield. I mean, in less than an hour, I've shown you how to set up a really interesting 2-part position that's going to earn us more than hopefully 20% after some time. And maybe we'll come back and check it out in 4 months. I'll probably break it down before then, to be honest, but giving you the idea. And again, I set it up with $25. Do the back of the napkin math. That was 250, 2,500, 25,000. You have the magic of daily compounding in there too. So a lot of potential. So, anybody who's interested in this, please have them come out and see us. School.com/beacon. Absolutely free to check out. Pardon me. Allergies. School.com/beacon. Got a great system in here. You can take our Beacon Challenge, or if you just want to check out our introduction to DeFi, that's up here. Easiest way is to start here, post, check out the rest of what we have available, and just check out our introduction to DeFi module that walks you through a lot of stuff we've been putting together over the past couple of years. It still stands up really well. So with that said, thanks for joining us today. And hope you learned something useful. We're here every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. We also have a couple other spots every Tuesday, roughly around 2 p.m. If you follow us, we do have a Twitter space where we try and talk to new protocols every week, introduce those to you. So if you're looking to find a new opportunity that you didn't know about before, you can check out On Air with Beacon. That's our Twitter space every Tuesday. Wednesday, we have our flagship podcast, the Total Value Lock Show. We've been doing that show since December of 2021, and we invite the best of the best to be analysts on our show. We talk about the news. We also introduce you to other the projects of our featured panelists. So you're looking to have a good time. We like to laugh and just really just talk about things that matter to you in your allocation. We're here for DeFi education and onboarding. That's our specialty, and that's something I feel we've spent many years in this space. I've onboarded tens of thousands of people since 2021. We're here because we're everyday people, and we have the trust of all of our great members behind us. So please, if you know anybody who's interested in learning more about decentralized finance, seeing some of these great deals that are available, please check us out. School.com/beacon. Follow us on our Twitters and everything. We'll see you next week. Take care. Have a great weekend. 07 to the moon, Bitcoin. Go back up. See you later.